love everybody.
Yep. Big, small, brown.
ELE. It's written. Well, everybody love everybody.
Woo! Wrong button. I meant to say. All right, we're gonna get the buttons figured out, but anyway, so what are we doing?
What is this?
This is the tube, man.
This is the tube. My goal in life is to always help somebody, right? Yeah. Anytime I'm helping somebody, I'm outside of myself, and that's a good place to live. Mm-hmm. So this is just, I think, from my perspective, going to be like a silly, off-the-wall cuss fest.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not cuss. But just like, we're just going to talk about all deep shit.
Yeah, deep shit, funny shit, shallow shit.
Yes.
And like put something out that people enjoy to be a part of, whether they end up being a guest on the show, because we are going to have guests on the show.
Absolutely.
We're going to have something for everybody. You know, some episodes might speak to you, some may not, but we really want it to be completely inclusive of, like, you know, because some days we're going to probably get into our past and things we've been through, and that might speak to people, but also a lot of fun. We're probably going to come up with a lot of crazy ideas. Actually, our original idea for the podcast was to call it Mad Scientist shit, but this is a little more inclusive, completely inclusive, I think, because we were going to have a lot of ideas, and we do have a lot of wild ideas. So Austen and I sitting in the shop a couple weeks ago and realized how many wild ideas we have together, and like how much we can feed off each other. We're like, we got to just start a podcast. Screw it.
Yep.
So the tube, man, and you can just flip on the tube and you can listen to it at work, and you can watch it when you need a good laugh. So I'm really excited to see where this actually goes. We are completely winging it.
We have nothing written, but I think that's what we want to capture too, is just kind of the rawness of life.
Yeah. So we're just being raw. That's the tube, man. Just being raw.
Yeah.
And like the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. You know, some days I'm going to come on here and I'm not going to want to people anymore. Like, kind of, we had that conversation yesterday, but I was totally, and we're going to have those days where like we don't want to people, and we might not come on that day, but we're going to keep this consistent. So every week you're going to get some new stuff.
Here's our stories. Here's what we think about topics.
Yep.
And this is where our mind goes when it's triggered this way.
Yeah. And
it's really a science experiment.
So we didn't go with the mad scientist name, but rest assured the mad scientists are still present.
Yeah, they are here. It's just the tube is our branding now.
The tube is the branding, and I love it. It's more, like you said, it's more inclusive.
It's fun.
But we're still going to come up with mad scientist ideas on here.
Yeah,
I mean,
so our big concern was, you know, little Timmy going home, Mom, mad scientist was on today. Guess what? Like, we didn't want that.
Right,
you know,
right,
like, where
right.
It's like, oh, we got to keep this mad scientist off the TV. People.
Right.
But the tube, it's
the
like...
The tube is everybody, man.
Yeah, and, you know, that's an inclusive kind of phrase in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, my dad was always like, oh, I'm going to sit down and watch the tube.
Sit down and watch the tube, absolutely.
This is the tube.
This is the tube.
This is the tube.
Yes, this is the tube.
So without just having some blank walls, we had to, you know, come up with some artwork right off the bat. So there's a tube there. I know it does look like a donut from the camera, but
no, it's definitely a tube.
It's definitely a tube.
Yep,
and we
it's
might
got
even
the warning
get it
on it and everything.
Yeah, we might even get it out this summer.
Yeah. We might even do. We were talking about doing possibly podcasts in Speedos for charity events. And, I mean, things are going to get a little weird around here.
Like mad scientists in its finest. And we are completely mobile with our setup. So we'll be out on the boat probably filming a couple episodes. So we're going to upload this as a podcast on all podcast streaming platforms like, you know, Spotify and I believe Apple has, but it uploads it to all the podcasts. But we also do have a YouTube channel as well. The full video and audio will be on there, and that is at the TooB. TOOB. Channel is called the TooB. So
got it.
Make sure you go subscribe to the TooB, get all the updates, turn your notifications on, and same with the podcasts. We'll drop the links in our description. Of this video. Make sure to follow us and follow our journey. You're not just following us, you're following the potential of
just like bringing people together.
Like and how many people could, and we've already got a laundry list of people who we've talk to that want to be on the show.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
all walks of life.
Yes.
We just had a young gentleman in here, and he was thrilled and excited to be on the show.
Yeah.
At some point, and a good buddy of mine, he just turned 65. He actually brought me coffee this morning. He's really wanted to be on the show too. I was talking with him
That's
deep
awesome.
this morning. He wanted to see the setup. We are in my shop, Always Tired Inc., and maybe we'll give you an image or a painting shop back there, up on a mezzanine. And we built our studio up here, so super cool, man. I'm really excited to be doing this. This is like a lifelong progression of I really want to do a podcast, and now we're here doing a podcast. So.
This has been a long time coming, and God, or whatever you believe in, just the higher power, for me it's God, walked us right into this.
Yeah. Slammed us together.
Yep.
Like bark on a tree.
Yep.
And was like, you guys need to do this.
This is what you need to be doing, so we're running with it.
We're running with it.
Hey, and we want some ideas from you guys, too, on times to air this.
Yeah.
We were kind of shooting the shit on when when would you guys kind of want to hear this? Kind of feel the vibe of it and say, is this like a Sunday thing? Is this a Thursday afternoon? Is this a hump day thing? Midweek?
So give us some feedback on that. Also, give us topics. Austin's going to set up another Gmail account that's called the Tube something. We'll get that set up. We'll drop that in the description as well. My phone number, I've maxed out the amount of Gmail accounts I can have. So he's going to set up another one. And you guys, our viewers, are going to be able to submit topics. And
Is anything off limits?
Nothing's off limits.
I think we'll talk about anything.
We'll literally talk about anything. He and I are not political or
not at all.
And that's what we're excited about having guests on, because it's what do you do? How'd you get to what you're doing? And I don't care if you're bagging groceries at the store. If you're good at what you do,
absolutely,
and you're passionate about it, I want to know, man. I want to hear about it, because that passion is what drives me to do what I like to do.
Yeah.
When you see somebody that's just into what they're doing.
Yeah.
You ever seen this guy run a tractor? You'll know what I'm talking about.
Dude, when I come around here and see you fired about, it gets me fired up, dude. And that's how this kind of started. That's what I mean by God put me in in each other's lives. We fire each other up, and that's so important. But to touch on that little topic that you just mentioned, no matter what you're doing in life, nothing pisses me off more. I don't eat a lot of fast food anymore. But when I got a sloppy fast food burger, I don't give a what you do, what you're doing with your life. But do it good.
Yeah.
Do it as good as you can. Everyone has off days. Me and my wife around here, locally, we use a 3-strike policy. So restaurants and stuff, we always give a 3-strike, you're out kind of deal. And then maybe reset and try them again another year. But because people are allowed to have off days, right? If I go to a restaurant locally here and we have bad food, we have a bad entree or something, we're okay, maybe this is going on with their life, or maybe something tragic happened. You know what I mean? So that's strike one. We're not going to hold that against them. We'll absolutely come back to that establishment. If it happens consistently, like I said, then sometimes we pump the brakes and say, probably rest on this place for a year. But yeah, no matter what you're doing, just kill it.
Yeah, and that's also a really good point too. Is just you got to give. Everybody deserves a second chance for sure.
Yeah,
and because my whole theory has always been the first time's a mistake, the second time's a choice, especially when just dealing with people in general or whatever. But everybody has off days. I have off days. Yesterday was one of my off days, where you miss the beats and you might not provide the perfect service or the perfect whatever. Sure. So I really commend that, because you're really giving before you're no, this place sucks. Just because you had a bad entree once,
right?
It's almost not fair,
right?
So, but 3 strikes out, it's
we enacted that it was kind of an unspoken thing before we got married, but then after we got married, it was definitely an adopted 3-strike policy, and we do that. Because I would hope someone would grant me that generosity, that if I'm having an off day or something bad happens in my life and I don't do a driveway or one of my excavation projects to the best of my ability that day, that they wouldn't strike me out on number one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So why wouldn't I offer that up to somebody else? One of the biggest things I tell people, so I go to the local treatment center every Monday, most Mondays. and I share my story and I hear some of their stories, to remind myself where I came from. And I always tell them in there, like, up front, like, I told my wife before we got married, like, I am not responsible for your happiness.
And that's genius. I remember you telling me this. I was going through some stuff a while ago,
yeah.
and he goes, "You know what? You're only responsible for the way you feel about this situation."
Yeah, I can't control how you feel. I can't make you happy. I'll be damned if I don't add to my wife's happiness and hers to mine.
Yeah.
90% of the time, right?
Right.
Like, add to my happiness, but I cannot put that on your shoulders for you to make me happy. It will never work.
Right.
I think a different way than you think. You respond to things differently. And I'm not responsible for how I make you feel, right? If I'm not outwardly trying to just be devious and hurt somebody, like, I can't help the way you react to something. So, like, that's on you to analyze that. You need to take a deep dive within and, like, why does this really upset you?
Right.
Is it me, the way I said it, or is it something going on internally?
One fun fact about both of us is we're both sober.
Yeah.
And, there's probably going to be plenty of stories we can share with that. But if anybody's, going through that, fighting addiction, things like that, there's definitely people out there that are willing to help. And I was reading something the other day that said,
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody light up a room like an addict who is sober.
Yes. Jelly Roll.
I think that was it.
That
wasn't
was
it?
Jelly Roll.
Yeah,
That said
and
that.
I was like, that is the most beautiful thing I think I've ever heard, because it just goes to show there's so many reasons you get addicted or whatever. Some of it is, wiring.
Yeah.
Like way people are wired, or long lineages of alcoholism or things like that. But that is the truth, man. Like, there is some really cool people behind that scary place to be. And if you can find the right people to be around and the right help, it's a beautiful thing. And some of us go through harder times to learn that. Some of us don't go through as hard times to learn that and get ahead of the game. But that's definitely topics we're going to be touching on coming up, and hopefully have some perspectives on that sitting with us here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, just ways of living. There's other ways of doing it.
Well, you know what? Why we're on that subject, why don't we just dive into it a little bit? Why don't we take a shallow dive and let me ask you a question?
Yeah.
So where did that road kind of end for you, or not end? Where did it why? Where it's like, I want to do something different this time.
So
what did that look like?
And this is kind of what I was touching on. Like, everybody has their own path to sobriety or whatever. And I probably wouldn't ever say that I was an alcoholic or anything. But what I can tell you is that the day I woke up and was like, fuck this, like, this is not the life I want to live.
Yeah.
Like, I got enough of a taste of how that could go.
Yeah.
That woke me up, because I had some things going in my life already that were pretty good. I had a landscaping business I started out of high school. And I was like, you know what? It was really just like an awakening one morning. I woke up and I was hung over, and I'm like, three times a week, whatever, and like getting a little bit too regular. And I'm like, I could see how this is going south real fast.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really ever got to the point where it was like, I need to find help to get out of this, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
That I was able to do that. I think I have a lot of great people in my life and a lot of great influences that didn't quite allow me to get as bad as I could have gotten. That realization, I woke up one morning and just said, nope, this is it. That was 7 years ago. My dad's been sober since the day I was born. So that had a little bit of like, I was like, well, if my dad's sober, I can be sober. Everybody wants to be like their dad.
That's
so it's
powerful.
like,
I'm going to cry.
Yeah, I know. So he was hungover and when my mom was delivering me, and that's what turned him. He said, I'm not. First of all, he was sick. Obviously, the delivery process, being hungover had to have been brutal. But so that's really powerful. A good friend I had at the time as well was a struggling addict who was sober for a short amount of time when he came into my life, and that was like another, like, you know what, I'm here to support him too.
Yeah.
And he was supporting me as much as it wasn't talked about or whatever, but the fact he was sober and I was around him pushed me to be sober. Right. So I think it's like a lot of your surroundings, like, you know, you're a collective of your 5 best friends, your 5 closest people.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get those correct people in your corner. It'll drive you that way naturally sometimes. And I think that's how I landed more on that than anything. And I asked myself, like, what could I do in my life right now that would give me like a leg up, an advantage? And that was it. Cause it was like wasting money, wasting time, wasting days. Yep. And that was my answer. So it was a collective of a ton of things coming together and influence that really powered me. And I think sharing that over the last 7 years with, I can count countless people who I've now inspired and that are sober for years, months, whatever. So I think that's the beauty in it. That's the power in it. You can change a life, whether you had a bad experience or not.
Yeah.
You want to go down that road a little bit?
Yeah, I'll go. Well, no, I like it. I heard one time, like, the first rule of holes when you're in them is to stop digging.
Yeah.
Like, that's rule number 1.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that. I heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you didn't have to dig that deep to realize that life, like, where it leads. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's,
but another side to that story is once you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up.
Yeah.
So once you can't dig anymore, you dug as deep as you could.
Yeah, you hit the bedrock. Yeah.
It's like the only way you can go is up.
Right.
If you can't make any more bad choices. And trust me, like, there's other sectors in my life that we'll get into that I've made really bad choices.
Yeah.
And have came out of them with flying colors.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for everything. You manifest everything that comes into your life. And there's so many lessons to be learned through the troubled times.
Yeah.
I look back now and I'm just grateful that I persisted.
Yep.
And that I didn't let certain things take me out.
Yep.
Completely, because we'll get into that someday too. But I say that I'm grateful to be here all the time because like there was a time where all I wanted was to not be here.
Yep.
So, every day I wake up and have another opportunity to put a smile on a face, to make a customer happy, to call my family is like a good day, and just happy to be here. Yeah. I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah, dude. It's our stories are so different yet so similar, and like you said, we're gonna get more in depth in all this stuff and really, I mean, layers of the onion, right? Yeah. We're really gonna peel this thing apart. That's what we want to do, and we're doing this so that someone out there doesn't feel alone.
Yeah,
because you're not alone, and
we're gonna have that email address in the description that Austin's gonna set up.
Yes,
and that's a lifeline too. Don't just submit like, hey, like talk about peanuts or whatever.
Right,
like,
right.
It's like,
which we will talk about
if
peanuts.
If you need something, reach out.
Yeah, and if you need to talk right away, like we'll hook it up with a phone number.
Yeah. Or
if you're curious about an idea, or you're struggling with something in life and you want us to touch on that in the podcast, that's what we're gonna do.
We're like, we just want to be here for people and spread love.
Because I like how your story, although brief, that you just shared, which we're gonna get way more in depth and talk about many more times, but it circled back to having other people in your life that were doing the same thing. Like and my story has that same similarity. Like, I cannot stress enough how. Real quick, this is funny. So I call Aaron yesterday, and he's kind of all stressed out, and it's like because people keep showing up at a shop and like wanting to talk to him, and it's like, well, dude, first of all, if you weren't so good at your fucking job, you would solve that problem. So start sucking, and people wouldn't want to be there. So it's like a kind of like we get in these headspaces sometimes where it's like, this seems like a burden or this seems overwhelming, but really it's a blessing.
Yeah, and there was a total lesson in that conversation with Austin that changed my mood the rest of the day. He could probably tell by the way I was texting him after the conversation.
Right.
But it's like, you know what, and just to be straight, I wasn't frustrated with the customers.
Right.
It was like, because I love when people, it was that I was in the middle of something, and the interruption, constant interruption that I couldn't tend to what I was doing.
Right.
So, yeah, it wasn't the customers by fault by any means.
No, keep coming in and bothering the out of this
because
guy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because I get here at 3 a.m. anyways and get most of my work done by the time anybody else comes in. So, but to circle back, I took the lesson out of that phone call. It was like, but hey, you could just suck at your job and nobody would come in.
Yeah, you'd be all by your self here.
And then what would you be complaining
Right.
about? So it's like, I try to minimize my complaining.
Yeah.
I try to, like, I usually have like one bad day every 30 days.
Yeah, you're
like,
allowed to complain. We're allowed to complain. Like, those feelings are
here and there.
justified, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, then you need a friend there to say, like, hey.
But what are you complaining for?
Yeah, and you know, sometimes, like, I found myself so, like, balls deep in the middle of something, and someone offsets that, and it upsets me. But really, I needed that step away from what I was doing. So when I came back at it, I was doing it better.
Exactly. Dude, it's
Dude, weird shit, man. I'm telling you, stuff like that happens, man.
yeah, and like there's just, I can't stress enough to just, cuz in the moment of anything, you're like worked up or you're worked down or whatever it is.
Yep.
But when you can have a chance to reflect on it, there's always something to take from it. And it's like, what did I do differently coming into that situation, or what could I have done differently coming into that situation, or what could I have done differently during that situation that would have not allowed this to escalate for me to feel this way.
Right.
So a good friend of mine who was a business partner of mine years ago, he would always tell me when we get into situations, because he was like the operating officer of what we were kind of doing, so he was kind of the bull. And he would be like, are you escalating the situation or de-escalating it? So it's like basically saying, are you fighting back, or are you trying to come up with solutions and work through it? Are you fighting that problem, or are you looking at it from like a more logical perspective and going, no, I don't need to fight back. I don't care what the other person's feeling or how they talk to me.
Right.
But just be raw about your response.
Right. More like, are you just reacting to this and kind of let it cloud you a little more? Or no, totally.
Basically just seeing through the shit. And not letting it emotionally get at you, especially in a business situation.
Right. And we sit here and say this now, but like, we're still gonna fail sometimes. But like,
whatever we preach means we've either went through it or we're going to go through it again.
So
we're not perfect people. Nobody is a perfect person. And if we're doing something you guys don't like, hit us with that email.
Yeah, hit us with that email. We'd love to hear it.
And like comments, man. Comments are what's going to drive our engagement. So comment, you guys are fools. Comment, you guys are beautiful. Comment whatever. We just want comments.
Yeah. Fill it up. But yeah, so we got a lot of stuff we're going to be covering. Like you said, you know, this addiction thing and this. A really funny story about that. So, like, we live in this is going to be going out all over this podcast. I mean, we're going to be spread out all over the U.S. and possibly the world.
Yeah, and we hope that you guys all love us.
Yeah. So, something unique to our area is kind of the drinking culture, and there are other cultures like this.
Let me give you a little fact. We are in northern Wisconsin. We're the drunkest state of all 50 states.
There you have it.
There you have it.
So, like, when I tell people that come up here, you know, because I'm always making new friends and I'm always networking and meeting new people in recovery and stuff like that. And when I tell them, like, yeah, when I was a kid, like, we would go to the bar with our dad at 5 and 7 years old, and he would just give us quarters and say, go play at the pool table, which was right by the bar. And, like, that was normal. Like, we grew up in bars, like,
and then once you're older, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
then you're getting a drink
with your parent at the bar. And
so in Wisconsin, that's legal.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about this the other day, actually. It's like we're one of the only states that actually is.
Yeah, I think there is a minimum age. Actually, I don't even think there's a minimum age. I think at any age in Wisconsin, and this law may have changed.
Yeah, and if it has, correct us.
Yeah, correct us. But when we were growing up, at any age, you could legally drink in a bar in Wisconsin with your parents present.
Yeah.
So at 10 years old, you were legally allowed to drink at that bar if your parents were present and obviously condone it. I mean,
that was for sure a fact when we were that age.
Right.
I never did, but I know that to be a fact.
Right. And I mean, you tell people that and they're like, That's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like no, that's
just cultivating an alcoholic.
right. So culture up here is heavy drinking. Like if you look at a lot of events in our area, like they're based around drinking. And part of this podcast too, part of the tube is going to be kind of not changing that culture, right? Like,
but how can we come up with some offerings that are otherwise?
Some new events, like some new events that offer a different perspective, that offer a different way to have fun. Like, and just because I don't drink, it is nothing against you and what you do. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make that clear. Like, my sobriety is never attack on your drinking.
Yeah, and you're not less of a person to me because you do it.
Absolutely not.
And if you want to do it around me, it's not going to bother me.
I have a little different view around that. I choose not to be around it. Well, we'll get more into that.
Yeah, we'll get more into that. But
that's where I mean our stories are very different, and it's going to offer a lot of perspective. And then you guys commenting your perspectives, emailing your perspectives. We're going to get all different angles. But like, yeah, it's never an attack. Like just because I choose to live this way, I'm not attacking you in the way you're choosing to live. But like, I know there's other people that want to live like this too,
right? And
we want to have some events for them. So I know there is kind of like a trend, like in the. I have some friends from Chicago kind of in the inner city area, and there is kind of like a small like culture growing of like mocktails and stuff.
No kidding.
So it's like these whatever I went straight for the hard
yeah.
Like I want shots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never did the fancy, but I guess there's like these fancy drinks like mocktails. Like my wife will have a mocktail every now and again. It's like a cranberry Moscow Mule or something.
Yeah, it's basically a doctored drink without
the alcohol in it. So there's kind of a culture in downtown Chicago of that, which I love hearing.
Yeah, I do too. And there's more and more non-alcoholic beer options coming out.
Right.
Like Heineken recently in the recent years which is my favorite NA beer, Heineken. And then Corona has just come out with one in the last few years too. Because I do like the taste of beer. So
I think it tastes like piss water.
Yeah, well, there's our perspective for
it.
Right. So like I have a NA beer here and there.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I like. Yeah. It's like drinking a Capri Sun. I just like the taste of
it. Right.
But I would rather drink Capri Suns, to be honest.
Dude, you want to know what I get at the gas station every night? I get Kool-Aid jammers. You know, the plastic Kool-Aid jammers, that top that you twist off and you just chug the thing?
No kidding. Dude, you just put them back?
Like... Yeah, dude. They're at Quick Trip. God bless Quick Trip. We love
God bless Quick Trip. Quick Trip is probably the best thing to happen to convenience stores ever.
Yes. And can we make a comment? Like, the people in there that work there are suspiciously happy.
Yeah. We're like... It's got to be the profit sharing or something. Because, like, dude, it's an experience. If you've never been to a Quick Trip, I'm telling you, go to a Quick Trip because you'll never go anywhere else.
Yeah, Quick Trip is...
You need lunch? Go there.
Yep.
You need eggs and bacon? Go there. You need to fuel up the semi? Go there.
Yep.
Like, you need a smile? Go there.
Go there, dude. They're smiling and they're all, hi, welcome to Quick Trip. Yeah. Thanks. See you next time.
Yeah. You got your rewards card? Nope. I said that yesterday twice. And today twice. But I get you need to say it.
Yeah.
Dude, I follow their Facebook page.
Yeah.
Do you follow Quick Trip?
No, I don't.
Dude, just the funniest stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's all comedic stuff that they post. Like, they're ripping on other gas stations.
I think they're just kind of real and raw. Yeah, I think their whole, and I think their business model of just, taking care of the employees and taking care of the employees and the profit sharing, like you said, and I just think...
It's a really great model.
And it is.
Like, why not put a Quick Trip gas station on one side of the road and put one directly across from it? Like, why not? That's a good model. Like, if I can catch this side of the road, why don't I catch that side?
Well, the reason they had to do that is because it's so popular.
Yeah, and every pump is full.
What a great example. Like you said, business model, but to go a little further on that, what a great example of, a quality business idea that centers itself around prioritizing the happiness of its employees and then, paying fair wages, and then offering consistent food items. If I go there and get a chicken sandwich, it'll be that same chicken sandwich every time,
right?
Which is important to maintain consistency. So their business model of just taking care of your employees and watch how that trickles down to everybody else.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's why they have to build them across the street from one another.
Right. And the number one reason you get into business is to take care of the customer.
Yeah.
That's the number one reason you get into business. My dad has always told me that. And I have a quote on the wall right over my desk, and I can't say it word for word verbatim, but I read it every day. And it says, it's a Warren Buffett quote, and he says, we can afford to lose money, even a lot of money. We cannot afford to lose an ounce of our reputation.
Yeah.
So if that costs us a lot of money, I'd rather it cost us money than our reputation.
Yeah.
So the number one reason you get into business is to take care of the customer.
Yeah.
How do you take care of the customer the best you can?
Take care of the employees. Yes.
So that's a huge lesson right there. For any of you entrepreneurs, business owners out there, if you've got a successful business, you probably already know that is the reason you have a successful business is because you take care of your customer, and which is probably because if you're a singular employee or worker in your business like Austen and I, it's because you directly took care of your customer.
Right.
But if you're in some kind of bigger management, it's probably because you took care of your employees.
Right.
You took care of your customers.
Right. So when you're we're blessed to be able to offer what we do and do the work ourselves and meet with our customers ourselves so we can put our customers first. But when you're hiring out other people, if you prioritize them, they will prioritize your customer.
Exactly.
If you make that very clear up front, like it's very evident when you go to places that do not prioritize their employees.
It shows immediately.
Because they don't take care of their employees. Like, because then the employees don't take care of the customers. They don't want to be there. They don't want customers. You know what I mean? So it's just like, listen up, big corporate.
Yeah. This is how you do it.
Quit, like you said.
The tube is the Bible.
The tube. Oh, this.
I got buttons programmed down here, and I gotta make sure I remember which is which.
I think we're gonna get stickers, a smiley face sticker, a clap sticker. So then you just look down and it'll just be this. But you'll eventually have it.
I'll have it dialed.
Yeah.
It'll be.
Yeah, you won't even have to look.
Yeah. So we got a couple more. I don't know. We're gonna try and keep these around an hour probably, unless we really get off on some topics.
Okay.
But so we got time left, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, good.
But
I was just literally gonna ask you, what are we looking to run on these?
Time wise?
Yeah.
Like
an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Why not? Right.
That's how. So that's how. Off winging it. That's how winging it we're doing. Is like I didn't even know how long we were doing it.
Yeah.
Like we're just.
I didn't even.
That's
know.
how raw this is.
Yeah. I didn't. Just being raw. We're just being raw.
Yeah. So.
The tube. There was something I wanted to touch on though that we were talking about, and now I can't remember. Do you have anything to add?
To the business model? No. Quick Trip is awesome.
Yeah, go to Quick Trip. If you have the chance to go to a Quick Trip, if you're a Midwesterner, it's already a regular thing in your schedule. I know that Quick Trip is significantly expanding. There also is Quick Star, which is owned by Quick Trip.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think it's a more Western version of Quick Trip. So there's Quick Star and Quick Trip.
Okay.
Really, really cool little story I know about Quick Trip.
Let's hear it.
There's a local gentleman who owns a really big propane business in town.
Okay.
We're just not going to say names because I just don't think that's fair.
Right.
But really, really successful propane business in town. And the story goes that he and the owner of Quick Trip, now Quick Trip, were buddies and are still buddies. And when they were younger, they had the same job. And whatever happened, they both got fired from the job. And one went on to start the most successful propane business probably in the state of Wisconsin. And one went on to start Quick Trip.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, somebody told me that the other day. And I'm like, that's two guys who were like, you know what, the system.
Yeah.
We're just going to go do it ourselves and do it big as
Right.
and unapologetically.
Right.
And whoever knows what they got fired for, you know, if they were 16, if they're 18, or whatever, however, you know, they could have been around in the back or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, and then you guys just went and they were like, it.
Yeah.
And built two massive companies.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes right back to what we were talking about earlier. Kind of that, like we have a choice when we encounter diversity and when we counter a problem in our life.
Yeah.
Like, do we fight back at it? Like,
do you lay
does
down?
he go home and tell his dad and say, "Dad, go yell," and then his dad yells at the boss and gets him that job back, and he stays working there for the rest of his life, making whatever, never really chasing his dreams? Or do they get fired and they just and then it's like, okay, this is an opportunity.
Yeah. Do you lay down and die, or do you turn into a monster?
Yeah, and you just seize that opportunity, and now we have beautiful Quick Trips with Kool-Aid jammers.
Yeah, and they got the best egg rolls, dude. Do you ever
Really?
eat the pork and vegetable egg rolls?
Oh, yes, I have. Yep, they got good pork and
Out
vegetable.
of this world.
You know what I really like? It's one of my little, I don't know what you call it, but
Vices.
yeah, little vice. They got these Oreo pudding cups. Oh my god.
Why do I just feel that with every bone in my body? Like, Oreo pudding cups. I wouldn't have expected anything less.
Dude, it's an Oreo pudding cup, and it's got layers of Oreos and chocolate or vanilla pudding and or vanilla Oreos or chocolate Oreos and whipped cream on the top, and it is just, the Oreos are just soggy enough where it's perfect and not weird.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the Quickery is what it's called over there. The Quickery.
The Quickery.
They come up with some stuff over there, and they got me.
They got the muffins. You ever get those muffins?
Yep, absolutely.
Their latest is cinnamon butter flavor. There's actually like little chunks of butter in it.
Shut up.
I'm like a butter connoisseur.
Shut up.
You make me some toast, I will have. It would be, you want some bread with your butter. Like,
Yes.
I love butter.
Yes.
It's probably
Butter's
bad.
good, man.
Yeah, like, I
Comes
wish I
from a
could just
tea.
be in the back, like, churning my own butter. But, like, so, and if you put them in the microwave for 20 seconds or something, that butter melts. And it's, like, out of this world, dude.
I am hungry now. Thank you.
So,
for that.
let's touch on that. If you could go to dinner right now to any place, what are you ordering?
So
Like, anything you could want right now.
So if I'm gonna choose to not listen to my doctor, I'm gonna go red meat, and it's a ribeye. I'm a ribeye guy. I'm a firm believer that all meat flavor, when a red meat we're talking right now, I think all flavor comes from either bones or fat.
Yep.
That's where the flavor comes from.
Yep.
So if you like a steak, you like the way the fat has. I don't know my brother's a chef in Chicago. He would know the technical term of how it, but like, I know that's where the flavor is. So I'm a ribeye. What are you getting?
If it's red meat, I would be ribeye too. I mean, if you like had a list of steaks, it'd be ribeye.
If you went to a restaurant right now, what are you ordering? You can order anything. What are you gonna order?
As long as I'm in Wisconsin,
Yeah,
I'm ordering cheese curds right off the bat.
Yes.
Because, like, dude, I'm a cheese curd.
Yes.
And my girlfriend is from Michigan, and like, just that there's just a slight amount of culture difference from Michigan to Wisconsin, and
there
it
definitely
mostly
is.
has to do with cows, cheese, and beer. So it's like, so she's like, does not eat cheese. She's just like not about it. But dude, I'll dip my cheese curds in cheese.
Yes.
And I'm like loving it.
Yeah. If I get cheese curds from Culver's, I get the cheese sauce.
Yeah, because you got it. Why?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't dip their cheese in cheese?
Yeah. So you're starting with the cheese curds.
Yeah, I'm going cheese curds 100%.
And then what are you going for your main course?
I usually gravitate seafood. So like, if I could have anything, I'm having scallops.
My man.
Scallops, crab legs, lobster tail, but scallops are definitely at the top of my seafood list.
A properly cooked scallop, I believe. Remember, the tube is the Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit the thing. Hit the thing.
Oh, wrong. That's the intro button.
That's our intro button.
I meant to hit this button.
So I think a properly cooked scallop is the tenderest meat on the face of the earth.
I have to agree. Is it just me, or is there sometimes little bits of sand in a scallop? Because every once in a while, when I'm eating it, I know that sounds left field, but have you ever been eating a scallop and been like, I think there's some sand in here?
I've had that experience with boogers. I mean, you remember eating a booger as a kid, you get the piece of sand in it. Anyway, we'll talk more about boogers later. I've never had sand on a scallop. No.
I don't know. Maybe it was just like
maybe
I was in a faulty spot.
Who's making you strike one?
Yeah,
for that place.
That might have been two.
That might have been. Well, here's the thing: scallops are expensive. That might have been like a 3-second rule one.
Yeah, like
where it hit the floor. 3 seconds back in the pan. Little piece of sand.
Yeah, that ain't gonna kill nobody.
No, it ain't gonna kill you.
Oh man.
So you're a seafood guy. So there's a couple restaurants up here that I really like, and I'm usually if we got a little extra spending money, um, I'm gonna get a ribeye and a lobster tail on the side. That's my dream combo.
Austin is a food connoisseur, and he goes to all the restaurants locally.
We've been to a lot, yeah.
He probably tips more than he should.
Absolutely do.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go off on a tangent about
Please,
tipping.
and then I'll do it.
Here's my philosophy on tipping.
Tell it to me.
I if it's just like marginal service where I'm like not the happiest, whatever.
Yeah.
My minimum tip is 20%.
Yeah.
So that's like you didn't do good.
Yeah.
I'm still tipping like
Yep.
what most people probably do
Yep.
at the top.
Yep.
If you go above and beyond for me, I'm doubling the bill. And next time I walk in there, you're gonna see me and you are gonna give me 1,000%.
Right.
Even though you gave me 200% the
Right.
first time.
Right.
So my philosophy is not only to get exceptional service continually,
Yep.
but if you do, it goes back to bagging groceries. Like if you're good at your job,
Yeah.
you're gonna get rewarded for
Absolutely. And if you're not, call me because I'll make sure we hook something up for you.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
just kill your job.
Just kill it. But my philosophy on tipping is you put a smile on my face, you serve me some good food.
Yep.
You brought me drinks more than I probably needed.
Yep.
You know, like my soda was half and you know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm taking care of somebody who is tending to me.
Yep.
Because there's something I feel when somebody is tending to me, waiting on me, taking care of me in any type of way.
Yep.
You're doing something that I could very easily be doing myself.
Yep.
Whether you chose that as your job or not is a different story. But you are choosing at that. You only have so many minutes in life. You only have so many days. You don't know when that last one is coming.
Yep.
And you chose to use those minutes, those hours to tend to me.
Do it with a smile.
Yeah.
And
I'm taking care of you.
Absolutely. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
We live in a small town up here. It's like you said, you're going to go back. We're going to see that server again. I tell you what, and I'm going to say this too. If you're a young hustler, like those high school kids that aren't out partying and aren't out, they're at the restaurant on Friday night because their parents said, no, I'm not just going to give you everything. You're going to work tonight.
Yeah.
And if I see you hustling and you're doing a good job,
Yeah.
then I'm making that tip fat.
Oh,
fat.
yeah.
Yep.
Dude, there's something about it because I was a young hustler.
Right.
And I know where that comes from.
Right.
And I had a nice family. I still have a very nice family. I'm very grateful to have a nice family. But there wasn't, I'll be flat out, there wasn't a ton I had to worry about growing up.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that my parents have been well off their whole lives.
Sure.
They worked for everything they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of times I had to worry too much in life.
Right. Right.
And so knowing that's my roots, but knowing my roots are also to be a hustler.
Right.
Because I had 3 jobs when I was 15, 16.
Yes,
and my mom's
dude.
driving me all over to all of them.
Yes.
When very well probably didn't need to. But my mom, my dad pushed me to that position. And I was a hustler. Sorry, phone call coming in. I was a hustler in that situation that you're talking about where people might not have needed to be. So when I recognize that, like you do,
Yeah.
see somebody that's like, yeah, you know what? You probably don't have to be a hustler. You're choosing to.
Right.
Young. It's like,
Right.
dude, that's money.
Yeah.
That-
I'm
like
all for that.
This person's going somewhere.
Right.
They're probably going to get into some shit. They're probably going to dig a hole over the next 10 years, but
But they're
they'll
always
figure
going
it
to
out.
remember
Yeah.
that when they hustled and when they put on that smile, dude, they'll never forget that day.
Yeah.
Because when people did stuff like that for me, I never forgot that day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, like, even when you're going through it someday or you make some bad choices and you make the wrong turn at a Y, like, you'll never forget that day, like, that you hustled and you smiled and it was recognized and it was rewarded.
Yeah, and you know what? There's nothing better than learning those lessons, going through those experiences, and being able to pay it forward. Because you know why I'm a good tipper when somebody's like that? Because somebody was for me.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you know what? You get exactly what you put into this world.
Yeah.
And if you put good examples and love and take care of people, it's going to come back to you
Oh, God.
at some point, tenfold. You can never look at that carrot because it's just going to sneak up on you one day.
Right.
You're going to be like, you know what? That came full circle.
Yep.
Pretty crazy. It just goes back to, I think what you were going with, because I can relate when I first started out in my graphic career and stuff. And it goes back to the Warren Buffett quote: "We can afford to lose money. We can't afford to lose reputation."
Right.
I kept my reputation intact because the way I handled adversity, the way I handled a problem.
Oh my God, I remember now.
Yours was one of them.
Mine was one. I think that really strengthened our relationship.
You were like, this guy.
And now he ends up doing. So yeah, you wrapped that 4-wheeler for me, and I wasn't even having an issue with mine, but you were using some type of vinyl or something that wasn't the best quality or something.
Yep. And I had realized this once one person had an issue.
Oh, mine did have a little. I don't remember, but I remember you reached out to me and said, "Hey, that vinyl was kind of cheap. I found some new, like a high quality product. Bring it back and I'll rewrap it." And you brought it back. I brought it back and you rewrapped it.
Yeah. So what I do for a living is I graphic and I print vinyl and do custom wraps on snowmobiles and UTVs and trucks and whatever.
Yeah.
And that was the situation I was in with him. And early on, I guess I didn't realize how many options you had for vinyl.
Yeah.
And application wise.
Right. Right.
Plastics are hard to get anything to stick to, so there's special vinyls for that. And yeah, that was just a good example of like my reputation was more important than the money I lost.
Right.
That was like within the first 6 months that I had started my business. I spent a whole month. I only had one, and I wouldn't even say it was a complaint. It was somebody that had brought to my attention that vinyl probably wasn't going to last as long as they wanted it to.
Sure.
And then I went back through the jobs that I had done, and I called every single one of them, and I spent a month redoing all of those jobs.
And lost some money on it, but gained lifelong customers, because I tell you what, I've brought everything back to you since. I mean, you did a boat for me,
and
you did
like
another 4-wheeler, I got more stuff coming up when the money starts flowing again.
You can lose a little bit of money here and there.
Yeah.
You just don't want to lose your reputation.
Oh, I know where I was going with that one thing. You did spark me on this. So giving back to the community has been so huge, because I know it's because of this community that I even have a business, right? Because it's them that support me. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I, like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, just started giving back so much. Like we were donating, and I'm not patting my own back. I'm just encouraging other people to hear this story and be inspired by it. But like, we were giving more than we probably should have been giving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, and even to this day, like I live in our house is 700 square feet. Like, you know what I mean? And my truck's, 9 years old, and like, but we give, like, money's infinite, because anytime we do something like that, like, it always comes back twofold.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's proven itself time and time again. There was times, year 1, year 2, where I'd be sitting there, July, no more jobs left booked for the year. I'm on my last job, thinking, how am I gonna make this work? Like, no more money's coming in. I don't have it. And all of a sudden, bam, my phone would ring 10 jobs. Mm-hmm. My phone would just ring 10 people would call me out for an estimate, get the job, and it just right back at it. And it's like, so like, yeah, huge shout out to community, and like the importance of putting back into this community.
Yeah,
like,
giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I'm a big proponent too of like, if you're not helping yourself, I don't want to help you.
Right.
Like, I'm not just giving out money so people can go buy drugs with it, but like, if you have a problem or you're struggling with something and it's not by your choice, like, I want to help you.
Yeah. And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like, everybody makes their own bed. I've made my own bed in my life, and I've laid in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have a lot of compassion for people who are struggling.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of situations where it's like, you made your bed, you made it that way, and now you need to lay in it.
Yep.
And that's the world, the universe, teaching you that lesson, so you're not laying in that bed again.
Yep.
And I think what's important about that is like, but there's so many stories that, tragic, unfortunate, bad, where it's like, yeah, you're just in that situation and there's nothing you could have done differently to be in that situation. Right. And you just need help. You need some resources, you need whatever. And that's what it's all about, man. Just,
yeah, kind of like that old saying, like I feel like I always do this. I feel like I'm always coming into you. That old saying, like, give a man a fish. I think my grandma used to tell me this.
Yeah. He'll eat for a day.
He'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for a lifetime. So it's like when you're ready to make your bed a different way.
Yeah.
Like I want to show you how to do that.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do this anymore. There's different ways to do this. Let me help you and show you, even if it's not monetary. Let me help you and show you, and then send you out on your own again and see how you. And some people, do the same thing over and over again. And like those people, I just pray for. It's like, man, I hope you, because there was years in my life where like people were telling me the same thing over and over again, dude, and I didn't listen. Like, I didn't change my ways
until you're ready.
Right.
I'm gonna leave with this. I got a little small story about building character. So went through a lot of different shit in my life. Came to a really low point. Was really tired of doing the business I was doing, which was lawn care, landscaping, whatever. My buddy from time I was a kid, been best friends since we were kids. Lived out in Reno, Nevada at the time. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pack up and just go live with him for a year and just try something different, reset. And I didn't have much money at the time. It's actually really anything. I had a 2008 Chevy Suburban.
Okay.
That I bought for like $6,000. I had like $2,400 left after I bought this Suburban. I drove out there. The day I got out there was the day the COVID shut down everything. The day I got there. And I had to make my first month's rent payment and the security deposit. So by the time I did that, and by the time I put gas in the vehicle to get out there, I mean, I'm talking a couple $100 left.
Right.
So like I couldn't buy a bed. I couldn't do nothing. And now I need to find a job when quarantine shut down everything. It was the day like quarantine started where everybody was like freaking
close
everything, stay in your house.
Yep.
I'm like, I need money coming in. So remind you that like I couldn't afford a bed. So my buddy had an air mattress and it had a metal frame. It was a camping bed. So like the frame folded up real small. And then obviously the air mattress went down. Yeah. He's like, you can rock this, dude. I'm like, all right. He's like, it leaks a little. I'm like, all right. So next thing I know, I'm sleeping on this air mattress the first night. By the time I wake up in the morning, it's completely flat. I'm laying on the wire frame. Like, I wake up in the morning, I go into the bathroom. I mean, like, just like red grid on my back, whatever. And so then first thing I do is I get on Indeed and I'm looking for a job. And like, I have a lot of background in power sports and stuff, just enjoying that growing up. There's a job for a parts department guy at a power sports place. And I went there, I interviewed. The guy told me I was overqualified for the job. I got the job, $14, $15 an hour, whatever the heck it was at the time.
Yeah.
The loophole with the power sports industry was that they were deemed necessary or whatever, so they could stay open because they maintained and serviced all the DNR UTVs. So there was just that little loophole that they could stay in.
Okay.
So by the time I got my first paycheck, I was out of money. Right. Got enough to pay rent for the next month. So after a couple months, I'm like, have a couple bucks or whatever.
Yeah.
Start considering buying a bed. Because now I've been sleeping on a leaky air mattress for 3 months. And I woke up the one morning and I'm looking at my back in the mirror and I'm like, you know what? This is the point. I'm building character. I'll wake up on this leaky air mattress as many days as I need to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
So for an entire year, I woke up laying on a wire frame because it was the idea that I could go get a bed. Probably didn't have excessive amount of money to go get a bed.
Right.
But the idea that I was waking up every morning and it reminded me of what I was doing and I was building character.
Yeah.
So I think what's powerful in all of that is like, if you do get to a low point in your life, if you find that you need to make a change, remember that building character is part of the process.
Yeah.
And like the lesson in waking up every morning and the first thing, it's like that guy talks about getting up. I don't know if you've ever seen that commencement speech. I think it was like a Navy SEAL or some guy gave, but he talks about how important it is to make your bed in the morning. Because you completed the first task of the day.
Yeah.
And like your home base is put back together.
Yep.
But my first reminder of the day was that I was there building character because I woke up on an uncomfortable mattress.
Yeah.
Which was a wire frame. So always be conscious of that. There's always a reason for everything.
Yeah.
You got to go through shit. You got to learn shit.
Yeah.
You got to build character in any form.
Yeah, and believe that, like...
And character, your character, my character, is something that continually is built upon.
Always, yeah.
Continually growing.
Always
Until
work
the
in
day
progress.
you die, you are a work in progress. You are building your character.
Yeah.
And anything that can add to your character in a positive way is a must.
Yeah.
And it might be a negative situation to add the positive to your character.
Yeah.
And that's something you got to always remember when you're going through shit.
Yeah, I like that. Like, don't always, like, look for someone to come and just buy you a mattress.
Yeah.
Like...
Because I could have called my mom. She would have bought me one.
Right.
She'd been like, oh, it's in the mail.
Right. So, like, let your higher power, like, in that moment, you let your higher power, whatever you believe in, which we'll talk more about. We're going to get more into that stuff, too. But, like, for me, it was God. Or for me, it is God. And it's like, let him get you through that.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, Jesus, take the wheel.
You know? But not in a hands off, like I'm throwing in the towel,
right,
like let somebody else take control. It's have faith.
Have faith that you're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
And sleeping on this mattress isn't gonna kill you, but you'll never forget that, and it'll encourage you to hustle harder.
It's like manifesting. Manifesting is only bullshit if you don't actually manifest.
Right.
So like manifesting comes from within.
Yeah.
You think, you become, you believe.
Think, you become, you believe, so you start doing the actions that
lead you
requires.
to what you're manifesting.
Yeah.
But if you just think you're going to manifest something like, oh, I want a big house, and then you sit there and you're, not doing anything, and you're not doing anything extra to have a big house, and like that's not how it works.
Right. Manifestation is a verb.
Yeah.
So it requires doing, just like for me, like gratitude is a verb. Like I can say I'm grateful for my mom, but like if I'm not calling her every day, because there was months where I wouldn't call her, like because I was out using, it's like if I'm grateful for mama today, even the days I don't want to hear her voice, because sometimes my mom's voice like just pisses me off, like just the way she sounds, like pisses me off.
I get it,
but like I'm grateful for her. So like even when I feel that way, like I owe it to her to call. So the same in the sense that the manifesting, like manifesting your dreams, like you owe it to yourself to do that work.
There's a lot of action involved.
There's a lot of action. Next week, so we're getting to our time here, but I want to just, so next week I think we're going to talk, it's going to be totally random again, but I think we're going to talk a little bit about more of the businesses. Yeah. And a little bit more about like competition and how that kind of forms our character a little bit more, and like hardens us a little bit and chases, continues those action
that'll
steps.
Help continue. We got into a little bit of who we are today.
Yeah.
I mean, at least background wise.
Yeah.
You guys don't. I mean, hopefully you continue to listen to us and watch us, and if anybody that does know us and is watching this probably knows some other background, but getting into who we really are and what we do, and just what we stand for is something we're all about, and hopefully to share it with any of the viewers that are looking for some information to take in, some inspiration, and then hopefully this can come full circle, and once we start having guests and people interacting with commenting and emailing us, we can really be a collective. We can be a voice for lots of things. So we're excited for the future of the Tube. And we're just excited to bring love into this world.
I'm so excited. We have a mission in life, and this is part of it.
Yeah, to leave a legacy that is impactful, inspiring. There's gonna be those two where it's like these guys are off the wall.
Yep.
But for now, we're gonna leave the Tube on the wall, and we're excited for next week. So like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends, listen to this while you're working, when you got your headphones in. Yeah. Give us feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. So, Austin, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank y'all for watching.
And that's the Tube, baby. Oh,
and we'll just cut it.
It needs a drum. Yeah, it needs a drum at the end.
That was...
Yeah.